The alarm goes off. It's cold outside. Your bed is warm. Every fiber of your biology is screaming at you to hit snooze and stay comfortable. You might think this is a modern problem, that you're just lazy. But 2,000 years ago, the most powerful man on earth fought this exact same battle every single morning. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up motivated. He woke up with a choice. In this video, we are breaking down the emperor's exact morning routine to help you stop negotiating with weakness and start your day like a titan. Marcus wrote a specific script for himself for those moments when the blankets felt too heavy. In Meditations 5.1, he writes, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for?" Most of us wake up thinking about obligation. I have to go to my job. Marcus woke up thinking about nature. He reframed waking up not as a chore, but as his function. A bee doesn't stay in the hive. It makes honey. You are a human. You build. You create. You act. Actionable step. Tomorrow, when the alarm rings, do not negotiate. Tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. Most people wake up and immediately check their phone, letting the chaos of the world punch them in the face. Marcus did the opposite. He prepared for the punch. He practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. He told himself every morning, today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, aggressive, treacherous, malicious, and unsocial. He didn't do this to be pessimistic. He did it so he wouldn't be surprised. If you expect your boss to be annoying or the traffic to be bad, you won't lose your temper when it happens. You remain unshakable. Marcus asked himself constantly, is this essential? The modern morning is filled with non-essentials, scrolling TikTok, checking emails, worrying about the news. A Stoic morning is about eliminating the noise to find the signal. Marcus focused on the task at hand with, as he put it, unaffected dignity. Actionable step. For the first 60 minutes of your day, zero consumption, no phone, no news, only creation and preparation. Own your mind before the world tries to rent it. You are capable of more, but it starts the moment you open your eyes. Do not let comfort rob you of your potential. Apply these 3 steps tomorrow. Wake up with purpose. Armor your mind. Do only what is essential. If you are ready to stop drifting and become the giant you were meant to be, subscribe to Titan Steps. We are just getting started. The phone buzzes. You check it. 3 apps later, you've forgotten why you picked it up. You sit down to work. 20 minutes in, you're reorganizing your desktop folders. You tell yourself you're busy, but busy isn't the same as dangerous. And right now, you are neither. 7 billion people walk this earth. Most are sleepwalking, fragmented, reactive, weak. The samurai called this state mushin no shin, mind without mind, drifting. Miyamoto Musashi wrote the antidote 400 years ago, alone in a cave, waiting for death. 21 precepts, the Dokkodo, the way of walking alone. This isn't about becoming a swordsman. It's about becoming someone who finishes what they start while the world around them drowns in noise. Ask yourself, Why did you open YouTube today? Be honest, not to learn, not to build, to feel something, a hit of novelty, an escape from the blank page or the difficult conversation waiting in your messages. Musashi understood this trap perfectly. Pleasure-seeking is a poverty of ambition. You are trading your future self for a chemical drip that lasts 90 seconds and leaves you emptier than before. The samurai trained with wooden swords until their palms bled, not because it was fun, but because they understood. Satisfaction is earned in retrospect, not borrowed in advance. Stop negotiating with your comfort. The scroll, the snack, the notification. They are not rewards. They are bribes you accept to stay small. How many projects have you started this year? How many did you finish? You felt inspired on Monday. By Wednesday, the energy faded. You told yourself you'd get back to it. You never did. Musashi fought over 60 duels to the death. Do you think he showed up kind of motivated? Do you think he waited to feel like it? Partial commitment is a lie you tell yourself so you don't have to admit you quit. The Dokkodo demands, decide, then burn your ships. Either swing the sword with everything you have or leave it in the scabbard. The middle ground is where potential goes to die. This one cuts deep. You think you know what you want. You don't. You know what you're attached to. An attachment is a prison. The student who needs the perfect lo-fi playlist to study never learns. The creator who needs inspiration to work never ships. When you have no preferences, you are unstoppable. Rain or sun, praise or silence, it doesn't matter. You don't need the world arranged your way. You arrange yourself. Train yourself to start despite the resistance, to focus when everything around you is broken. That is independence. That is power no one can take. The samurai were not superhuman. They were simply humans who refused the comforts you accept without thinking. The Dokkodo is not a history lesson. It is a mirror, and if you're being honest, you don't like what you see. Good. That dissonance is your potential screaming to be unchained, but knowing the path and walking it are different. You have consumed enough wisdom for 10 lifetimes. The question is whether you will act on one principle today. Will you finish what you start? Or will you close this video and forget it by dinner? The choice is ancient, and it is yours. Don't forget to subscribe. You think you have time. That is your arrogance speaking. You spend hours scrolling. You spend days waiting for the right moment. You spend years preparing to live, but you never actually start. Seneca warned us about you 2,000 years ago. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." You aren't busy, you are just dying slowly. And today we stop the bleeding. If a stranger walked up to you and tried to steal your wallet, you would fight them. You would protect your money with violence if you had to. But when a distraction steals your time, when a notification steals your focus, you hand it over willingly. Seneca called this madness. He wrote, "Men do not let anyone seize their estates, but they allow others to encroach on their lives." You are stingy with your money, but you are wasteful with the only commodity you can never get back. Why? Because you live as if you are destined to live forever. You treat time as if it is cheap. It is not cheap. It is finite. And every second you spend on something that does not build the giant within you is a second you have murdered. So how do we stop the hemorrhage? Seneca gives us the answer, but it is not what you want to hear. It is not about time management apps. It is not about a better calendar. It is about immediate execution. Postponement is the greatest waste of life. It denies the present by promising the future. I'll start the business when I'm ready. I'll get in shape when work slows down. I'll become the titan when I feel like it. You will never feel like it. The perfect time does not exist. There is only now and the work you are avoiding. Here is your directive for today. Identify the one task you have been postponing, the one thing that actually moves the needle, the thing you are afraid of. Do it, not tomorrow, not after coffee, now. Cut away the rest. If it does not serve your purpose, it is a thief. Treat it like an enemy. Life is long enough if you know how to use it, but for the man who waits, life is already over. Don't let your potential die in the waiting room. Live immediately. When was the last time someone truly respected you, not liked you, not tolerated you, not found you nice, respected you? If you have to think about the answer, we already have a problem. You are being treated as background noise. You are being tolerated, and the worst part, you have accepted it. The Stoics did not tolerate this. They commanded armies and ruled empires not by shouting, but by a specific code of conduct that made disrespect impossible. Today, I give you 5 of those rules. Apply them, and watch how the world changes its posture around you. Before we begin, I want you to answer one question in the comments below. Which of these 5 rules do you struggle with the most? Do not hide from it. Admit it in the comments. I read every single one. Now, let us begin. Rule 1. The silent stare. Weak men talk to fill the silence. They are terrified of the pause. They giggle. They ramble. They explain. You will do the opposite. When someone challenges you or disrespects you, do not flinch. Do not argue. Hold their gaze in complete silence for 3 full seconds. Seneca taught that the greatest remedy for anger is delay. That silence is your delay. It signals that you are not reactive, you are assessing them. 3 seconds of silence makes a loud man question himself. 5 seconds makes him fear you. Rule 2. Stop explaining yourself. I can't come because I have to work. I did this because I thought. Stop. Every time you offer an unasked for explanation, you are begging for validation. You are asking the other person to approve of your decision. Epictetus said, never explain yourself. Your friends don't need it, and your enemies won't believe it. Learn the power of the phrase, I have decided. That is the end of the sentence. Rule 3. The strategic withdrawal. There is more power in walking away than in winning an argument. Most men stay in toxic conversations because they crave the last word. They are slaves to their ego. The Stoic does not care about the last word. He cares about his peace. When disrespect happens, you have two choices: lower yourself to their level or step over them. Rising above looks like this: a slight nod, a turn of the heel, and silence. Your absence will haunt them more than your anger ever could. Rule 4. Emotional iron. The world wants a reaction out of you. Your boss wants to see you sweat. The news wants to see you angry. A partner might want to see you beg. Do not give it to them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "To be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over, it stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. When you control your emotion, you control the room." Rule 5. The most important of all. If you say you will do it, it is already done. Respect is lost the moment you break a promise to yourself. If you say you will wake up at 5 and you hit snooze, you have taught yourself that your word is garbage. Why should anyone else trust you? Become a man whose word is iron. Go back to the comments. Tell me which rule you are implementing today, and then go do it. Every productive guru you follow is selling you the same lie: work more, sleep less, grind until you break. And that's exactly why most of them are forgettable. The people who quietly win, they mastered the art of doing nothing and getting everything done. Today, I'm going to show you Wu Wei, an ancient method of effortless action, and how doing less on purpose will make you terrifyingly productive. The question that exposes your trap. Be honest with yourself for once. Are you actually productive, or just constantly busy and slowly burning out? Answer that in your head right now, and then answer it publicly. In the comments, write one word: productive or busy. I want to see how many of you are still trapped. The hustle lie. Modern productivity is built on panic. If you're not exhausted, you're falling behind. If you're not overwhelmed, you're not trying hard enough. This is how weak men justify their lack of direction. They confuse motion with progress. Real power is not frantic. Real power is precise. The Stoics understood this. The Taoists understood this. While the crowd was grinding itself into dust, the masters were conserving energy, moving only when it actually mattered. Hustle culture worships exhaustion. Wu Wei worships effectiveness. What Wu Wei really is. Wu Wei is often translated as doing nothing. People hear that and think laziness, passivity, giving up. They're wrong. Wu Wei is effortless action, action so aligned that it feels like you're not forcing anything, but everything moves. Think of water. It doesn't attack the rock. It doesn't get angry. It simply flows again and again until the rock yields. No panic, no tension, just relentless, natural movement. That is how your work should feel. Not a daily fistfight with your to-do list, but focused, calm, continuous pressure in the right direction. The 4 Wu Wei principles for ruthless productivity. Principle 1, remove the unnecessary. Most of your productivity struggles are self-inflicted. You are doing too much of what doesn't matter. Cut 80% of your tasks. Keep the few that actually move your life forward. Doing less is not weakness, it is selection. Principle 2. Work with your nature, not against it. If your mind is sharp at night, stop forcing 5 a.m. monk routines. If you think clearly after a walk, build walking into your work. Wu Wei doesn't fight your nature, it harnesses it. Principle 3. Strategic withdrawal. Sometimes the most productive move is to stop. When you're forcing a solution, your mind tightens. Step back, sleep on it. Let your subconscious work while your body rests. Retreat is not surrender, it's repositioning. Principle 4. Flow over force. You know the feeling. Hours disappear and you barely notice. That's flow. Protect it ruthlessly. Work in 60 to 90-minute blocks with 0 distractions. Then rest completely. You're not meant to sprint for 12 hours. You're meant to move in waves. Apply this today. Here's how you start living Wu Wei today. Tomorrow, cut your to-do list down to 3 meaningful actions. Do them in 2 deep focus blocks. Between them, walk, breathe, be still. That's it. You will get more done with less strain than all your previous grind days combined. Closing challenge. Most people will nod their heads, then go straight back to chasing chaos because chaos feels familiar. You are not most people. Which principle are you implementing this week? Remove the unnecessary. Work with your nature. Strategic withdrawal. Flow over force. Put the number in the comments. Make it a contract with yourself. Then close this video and practice the art of doing less so you can finally become capable of more. Most people think you win an argument by crushing the other person, raising your voice, stacking more facts, landing that final blow that leaves them speechless. That's not winning. That's emotional chaos with extra words. Sun Tzu built his philosophy on one brutal truth. The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. In arguments, the person who fights the least often wins the most. Answer this honestly. Who is the one person you keep locking horns with and always walk away drained? A partner? A co-worker? A parent? Hold that person in your mind, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to win against them without raising your voice and without throwing a single verbal punch. Mouths yelling, hands slamming tables. Sun Tzu said, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." Most people know neither. They don't know themselves because the second they feel attacked, their ego takes the wheel. They don't know the other person because they're too busy waiting for their turn to speak. That's why arguments spiral. You're not fighting over truth. You're fighting over identity. No one wants to be wrong. No one wants to be exposed. So instead of searching for reality, they defend their pride. Here's the hard pill. You can win the logic and still lose the argument. You can have better facts and still walk away weaker. You can prove your point and permanently damage the relationship. Sun Tzu didn't care about being right. He cared about outcomes. Victory meant minimum effort, minimum damage, maximum control. In an argument, that means this: you don't win by destroying the other person. You win by refusing to be dragged into their emotional battlefield. Sun Tzu, again. If your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him. He understood something people still don't. The easiest person to control is the one who can't control themselves. So when someone comes at you, they raise their voice, they throw jabs, they bait you. They are revealing their weakness, not their strength. Your first move is not to attack back. Your first move is to analyze. Ask yourself quietly, what are they afraid of losing right now? What identity are they defending? What are they trying to prove? Because every argument hides a deeper fear. If I'm wrong, I'm stupid. If I give in, I'm weak. If I don't win, I'm irrelevant. Sun Tzu would never charge into that head on. He would step to the side and make the enemy expose themselves. Here's how you do that in real life. Ask one sharp, calm question. Example: what is it that you're actually worried will happen here? What do you think this means about you? What's the real outcome you want? Questions force them to explain themselves. When they explain, they reveal their position. When they reveal their position, you gain control. Use silence like a weapon. Most people can't sit in silence. They'll fill it with more words, more reveals, more emotional tells. You don't have to fill the space. You just have to watch. Knowing your opponent in an argument means this: while they're busy trying to win the moment, you're quietly understanding the entire battlefield. Sun Tzu wrote, "He who is prudent and lies in wait for an enemy who is not will be victorious." The modern version: he who controls the frame wins the argument. The frame is the unspoken rule of what this argument is about. Most people argue inside the other person's frame. They accept the accusation. They accept the emotional tone. They accept the definition of winning. You don't. You reset the frame. Here's how. Lower your voice when they raise theirs. When they escalate, you de-escalate. Start speaking more slowly. Drop your volume. Look them in the eyes, not with anger, but with stillness. This sends one clear signal: I am not playing your game. Name the process, not the insult. Instead of defending against their words, you comment on their behavior. Notice how this turned into a shouting match instead of a solution. We're arguing in circles right now. That doesn't help either of us. If you just want to win, tell me. If you want a solution, we can slow down. By doing this, you step out of the emotional mud and force them to see what's actually happening. Shift from attack versus defense to alignment. Sun Tzu never fought where the enemy was strong. Don't fight where the other person feels most threatened. Instead of, "You're wrong. You're overreacting. You're being ridiculous. Try. We both want this not to blow up. We both want to feel respected here. We both don't want this to drag on for days." You move the frame from me versus you to us versus the problem. That's not softness. That's strategy. Sun Tzu. Again, the wise warrior avoids the battle. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who does not need to prove themselves. You don't have to take every fight. You don't have to answer every accusation. You don't have to fix every misunderstanding. Sometimes, walking away is the kill shot. Here's when you withdraw. When the other person is committed to misunderstanding you, if they distort every word you say, you're not in an argument. You're in a trap. Calm line. You're not interested in understanding me, you're interested in winning. I'm not playing that game. Then you stop. Conversation over. When the cost is higher than the win. Sun Tzu would abandon a battle if it meant preserving his army. In your life, your army is your energy, your time, your peace. Ask, if I win this, what do I actually gain? If I keep going, what do I lose? If the answer is peace, respect, long-term trust, disengage when silence says more than any argument. Sometimes the most brutal response is none. Not to punish, not to manipulate, but to send one clear message. You no longer have access to my energy. Withdrawal is not weakness. It's choosing the battlefield. And the person who chooses the battlefield chooses the outcome. Most people are foot soldiers in their own arguments. They charge, they swing, they bleed, and they call that being strong. Strength is not how loud you yell. Strength is how little they can move you. Sun Tzu's way is simple. Know yourself. Know the other person. Refuse to fight on stupid ground. Choose peace when ego wants war. You don't need to win every argument. You need to become the kind of person no argument can shake. So go back to that one person you thought of at the start, the one you always clash with. Next time they come at you, you won't bite the bait. You'll ask the sharper question. You'll lower your voice. You'll walk away if the cost is too high. Not because you're weak, because you're done being a soldier. You're the strategist now. Act like it. What if the smartest person in the room isn't the one talking the most, but the one asking one brutal question? Here's my question for you. When was the last time you walked away from a conversation thinking, I knew they were wrong, but I still couldn't shut them down? Hold that moment in your mind, because Socrates built a system for that exact problem, and he used it to make powerful men look stupid without ever raising his voice. Today, you're going to steal it. Why you keep losing, even when you're right. Most people enter a conversation like a gladiator. They swing opinions, they throw facts, they get louder, faster, more emotional, and they think, if I just explain myself harder, I'll win. Socrates did the opposite. He almost never made statements. He rarely claimed, this is the truth. Instead, he played dumb and asked questions. And that's why he was terrifying, because when you're arguing, you're exposed. But when you're asking questions, you're covered in armor. Here's the uncomfortable rule. The one who asks the questions controls the room. The Socratic system, 5 moves to control any conversation. You don't need to memorize philosophy. You need a small set of weapons. Use these 5 moves. Move 1, the clarity strike. Question, what do you mean by that? Someone says, people today are just weak. You don't argue. You don't say, no, they're not. You look at them, calm, and ask, what do you mean by weak? Why this works. Most people hide behind vague words. You force them to define their battlefield. Once they do, the holes appear. Move 2, the evidence trap. Question, how do you know that's true? They say, money always makes people selfish. You don't spit counterexamples. You don't rant about generous millionaires. You ask, how do you know that's always true? What's your proof? Now they have homework. They have to reveal their sources, their assumptions, their guesses. You just watch. Move 3. The alternative. Flip. Question. Could there be another way to see this? They say, failing this exam means my life is over. You don't baby them. You don't say, no, everything will be fine. You ask, could there be another way to see this? Any at all? You crack open the door. You don't force them through it. They walk through themselves. That's power. Move 4. The consequence. Push. Question. So what? What does that mean for your life? They claim, comfort is the most important thing. You nod once. So what? What does that mean for your life if you live like that for 10 years? Silence. Now it's not an opinion. It's a future. They have to stare at it. Move 5. The silent hold. Action. Ask. Then shut up. This is where most people fail. They ask a good question, and then they panic. They rush to fill the silence. Don't. You drop the question, then you hold the silence like a blade to the throat. No fidgeting, no nervous laugh. Just calm, steady eye contact, or a relaxed gaze. Let them feel the weight of their own words. Let them rescue themselves from the silence. That's when the truth slips out. Why this scares people. Understand this, people aren't afraid of your opinions. They're afraid of their own contradictions. When you argue, you're just another noise in their head. When you question, you turn their mind against itself. They can't attack you. You're not making claims. You're not shouting. You're just removing their excuses, one answer at a time. That's why Athens killed Socrates. Not because he was violent, not because he was loud, because he made important men realize they didn't know what they were talking about. The crowd will always hate the mirror that shows them their real face. How you start using this today. Think of one person you keep clashing with, the coworker who's always absolutely sure, the friend who turns everything into drama, the family member who never admits they're wrong. Next time, don't go in with speeches. Go in with 3 things. 1 calm breath, 1 Socratic question, 1 long silence. What do you mean by that? How do you know that's true? Could there be another way to see this? So what? What does that mean for your life? Pick one. Drop it. Hold. You're not trying to humiliate them. You're forcing reality back onto the table. Stop trying to be the loudest voice in the room. Be the sharpest question. Outsmarting everyone isn't about showing off how much you know. It's about revealing how little certainty everyone else actually has. Ask, hold, watch them undo themselves. That's the Socratic way. Use it well. Your brain is being hijacked. Every notification, every scroll, every cheap hit of entertainment, and you wonder why you can't focus on anything anymore. Here's my question for you. When was the last time you sat in silence and didn't reach for your phone? Not because you were busy, not because you were tired, but because sitting alone with your own thoughts felt uncomfortable. Hold that feeling. Because the ancient Stoics knew something. Modern science is only now rediscovering. Your brain isn't broken, it's just addicted to the wrong inputs. And today, I'm going to show you how to reset it, using the same mental warfare techniques philosophers used 2,000 years ago. 1. The dopamine crisis no one talks about. Dopamine isn't your enemy. It's your fuel, your drive, your motivation system. The problem is, modern life has broken your calibration. Every scroll, every like, every notification. Your brain dumps the same kind of dopamine you'd get from a real achievement. And here's the trap. Once your baseline is broken, nothing natural feels rewarding anymore. A book feels boring. A conversation feels slow. A quiet morning feels like punishment. That's why you reach for the phone again. Not because you're weak, because your reward system is hijacked. The Stoics called this being a slave to externals. Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb people, but their judgments about things." Your phone isn't the problem. Your inability to sit with discomfort is. 2. The Stoic framework for dopamine reset. You don't need to move to a cave. You don't need to throw away your phone. You need a system. Here's the 4-part Stoic protocol for resetting your brain. Part 1. The voluntary discomfort. Every day, do one thing that sucks. Cold shower. Skip breakfast until noon. Sit in silence for 10 minutes with no phone, no book, no music. Marcus Aurelius didn't accidentally become one of the most powerful men in history. He built tolerance for discomfort on purpose. When you voluntarily experience discomfort, you rewire your brain to stop fleeing from it. You stop needing the quick hit because you prove to yourself you can handle the void. Part 2. The stimulus fast. Choose a window. Start with 4 hours, then 8, then 24. During this window, no social media, no news, no entertainment, no eating for pleasure. Eat plain food, no snacks. This isn't about suffering. This is about recalibrating your baseline. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The first fast will feel like death. The 5th will feel like freedom." Part 3. The output. First rule. Rule: no input until you've produced something first. Write 500 words. Make something. Solve a problem. Work on your real goal for 90 minutes before you consume anything. This reverses the flow. Most people wake up and consume. You wake up and create. Your brain starts associating output with reward, not consumption. Part 4. The evening inventory. Every night, ask yourself, what did I consume today that added nothing to my life? What did I create? Where did I let discomfort win? This is the Stoic practice of evening reflection. Not to judge yourself, to collect data. You can't optimize what you don't track. 3. Why this works. Modern science calls it dopamine detox. The Stoics called it the art of enduring. The mechanism is the same. Your brain adapts to whatever level of stimulation you give it. Turn the noise down, and silence becomes loud. Turn the noise off, and your own thoughts become the most interesting thing in the room. That's when you regain control. That's when focus returns. That's when discipline stops feeling like sacrifice and starts feeling like power. 4. Your 7-day challenge. Don't try to change everything at once. Start with 7 days. Day 1, no phone for the first hour of your day. Day 2, 1 cold shower. Day 3, 30 minutes of silence, no input. Day 4, no social media before noon. Day 5, write 500 words before consuming anything. Day 6, eat 1 plain meal, no flavor hunting. Day 7, full 24-hour stimulus fast. Track it. Feel the resistance. Don't quit when it gets uncomfortable. That's the point. Your brain is not broken, it's just uncalibrated. The ancient Stoics didn't have smartphones, but they understood the same enemy: the endless pull toward easy pleasure and the slow death of discipline. They built walls against it, mental walls, daily practices, voluntary discomfort. You have the same tools, the same framework, the same weapon: your willingness to sit in the silence that everyone else is running from. Reset your brain, reclaim your focus. That's the Stoic way. Most people train their bodies to look better. Most people train their minds to feel better. Plato knew something both groups are missing. Your body and mind aren't separate machines. They're one system. And if you want unbreakable mental strength, you start with physical strength. Here's my question for you. When was the last time you pushed your body to failure and discovered something about your mind you didn't know before? Not in the gym, not in sports, in real life, when everything was falling apart. Plato's academy wasn't just about philosophy. It was physical training, mental discipline, and building warriors who could think clearly under pressure. Today, you're stepping into Plato's gym, and you're going to see why physical strength isn't vanity. It's mental warfare. The lie about mind-body separation. Modern culture told you a lie. Your mind is everything. Your body is just a vessel. Wrong. Plato understood. Your body shapes your thoughts. Your thoughts shape your actions. Your actions shape your reality. When your body is weak, your mind becomes a lawyer, arguing for comfort, defending excuses, justifying avoidance. When your body is strong, your mind becomes a commander, assessing reality, making decisions, executing under pressure. Look at the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius trained in combat. Seneca wrestled and practiced cold exposure. Epictetus, born a slave, still kept his body capable. They knew a weak body creates a weak will. A trained body creates a dangerous mind. The science Plato pointed to. Plato didn't have neuroscience, but he watched humans. He saw a pattern: challenge plus recovery equals growth. Modern science just gave it labels. When you push your body hard, stress hormones spike. Your brain releases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Neural pathways strengthen your tolerance for stress increases. You think you're just doing squats. Your nervous system is learning. This is hard. I survived. I can handle more. Every rep in the gym is a rehearsal for real life. The burning in your legs becomes the pressure at work. The shaking arms become the difficult conversation. The shortness of breath becomes the anxiety before a big decision. Plato called this gymnastics of the soul. Modern psychology calls it stress inoculation. Different vocabulary, same truth. The 4 pillars of physical mental training. Welcome to Plato's gym. 4 pillars. Pillar 1, voluntary discomfort. Discomfort is not a problem, it's a teacher. Every deliberate physical struggle is a message to your mind. I do not run from pain, I move through it. Cold shower, last brutal set. Finishing the run when your legs are screaming. That signal carries over into rejection, into failure, into embarrassment, into pressure. The person used to physical pain does not crumble at emotional pain. They've rehearsed, not quitting. Pillar 2, Progressive overload. You don't get stronger lifting the same weight forever. Your mind works the same way. Physical training teaches a law. If it doesn't challenge you, it cannot change you. So you add 5 more pounds, run 1 more minute, do 1 more rep. Mentally, that becomes reading harder material, taking harder responsibilities, facing harder truths about yourself. You learn to seek controlled difficulty instead of fleeing it. Pillar 3, consistency over intensity. One legendary workout changes nothing. One legendary burst of motivation changes nothing. But showing up again and again, even when you're tired, that's identity. The gym teaches you discipline beats motivation. Ritual beats mood. Standards beat feelings. You stop asking, do I feel like it? You start asking, who am I? Pillar 4, recovery as strategy. Strength does not come from never stopping. It comes from the rhythm of stress and recovery. Muscles grow when you sleep. The mind grows when you reflect. Plato would approve of this. Train hard, rest deliberately, not as an excuse, but as a tactic. The strongest warrior knows when to attack, when to hold, when to withdraw and rebuild. 4, the modern standard of strength. You don't need to be a bodybuilder. You need to be capable. Set standards that force you to respect yourself. 20 clean push-ups, 5 to 10 pull-ups, run 2 uninterrupted miles, carry your body weight for 50 to 100 meters. These aren't arbitrary numbers. They represent a body that can move, endure, and handle stress. When you reach them, something shifts. You walk into a room differently. You trust yourself under pressure. You stop negotiating with your own weakness. Physical strength becomes a quiet, permanent confidence. 5, the 30-day Plato's Gym Challenge. For 30 days, you train body and mind as one. Week 1, build the ritual. 15 minutes of movement every day, same time, same signal, alarm, song, trigger. Week 2, raise the load. 20 minutes daily, add 1 hard movement, push-ups, squats, sprints, carries. Week 3, test the edge. 25 minutes daily. 1 max effort session this week where you hit a real limit. Week 4, reflect and integrate. 30 minutes daily. Each night, write down, when did I want to quit? Did I? Why? Or why not? How did this show up in my decisions today? You're not just chasing sweat, you're collecting data on your own mind. Plato's Academy didn't mass produce fragile intellects. It forged thinkers who could endure reality. They trained bodies to harden minds. They understood what most people still don't. Your mind is not floating above your body. It's wired into every heartbeat, every breath, every rep. You say you want mental power. Prove it with physical strength. Step into Plato's gym. Build the body that can carry the mind you claim to want. Become too strong inside and out to be moved by trivial things. Most people don't lack confidence. They lack the courage to admit how dark they really are. You want real confidence? Stop pretending you're a good person and start asking a brutal question. What part of you are you most afraid other people will see? Hold that answer in your mind. Now we build. You've tried all the usual tricks, positive affirmations, motivational videos, fake it till you make it. And yet, one harsh comment, one rejection, one failure, and your confidence collapses like wet cardboard. Carl Jung had a name for the part of you that keeps sabotaging everything: the shadow. Not some mystical demon. It's the collection of impulses, desires, weaknesses, and aggression you hide from others and from yourself. Stoics understood this in their own way. You do not become unshakable by pretending to be pure. You become unshakable by owning what you are capable of, good and bad, and putting it under discipline. That's what we're doing today. Not therapy, not coddling. A protocol for turning your dark side into quiet, lethal confidence. 3 moves. Expose the lie. Drag the shadow into the light. Forge it into controlled power. Expose the lie. I'm a good person. The first lie weak men tell themselves is simple: I'm a good person. Translation: I don't want to see the parts of me that scare me. Ask yourself, who do you envy the most? Who do you secretly hate, but also admire? Whose success makes you feel small? Write down the first 3 names that come to mind. Don't clean it up. Now ask, what do they have that I pretend I don't care about? Status, power, discipline, skill, attention? That sting you feel? That's your shadow. Jung's point was ruthless. What you refuse to own in yourself, you will attack in others. The Stoic upgrade. What you refuse to own in yourself, you cannot control. You cannot be confident while living in denial. You're not calm. You're just fragile and well-behaved. Drag the shadow into the light. Now we turn vague darkness into hard data. Take a page. At the top, write, "This is what I really am." Then write, in brutal honesty, "I am capable of anger. I am capable of manipulation. I am capable of laziness. I am capable of obsession." And anything else you feel but never admit. You're not deciding to act on these. You're admitting capacity. Jung's insight. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life. And you will call it fate. The man who says, "I'm not angry," while his jaw is clenched, is dangerous in all the wrong ways. The man who can calmly say, "Yes, I am capable of rage, and I choose what to do with it," is beginning to be powerful. Stoic confidence is not, "I would never do that." Stoic confidence is, "I know exactly what I'm capable of, and I decide the line." Forge it into controlled power. Your dark side is raw energy. The question is whether that energy owns you or serves you. Look at what you wrote. Pick one trait that scares you the most. Maybe it's rage, envy, obsession, desire for control. Now reframe it. Rage to capacity for decisive action. Envy to radar for what you truly want. Obsession to ability to focus brutally on one target. Desire for control to potential for strong leadership. Ask yourself, how do I express this trait in a disciplined, useful way? Examples. You have rage. You train. You lift heavy. You fight bags, not people. You move that fire into your body and your work. You have envy. You study the person you envy, convert jealousy into a training program, skills to learn, habits to build. You have obsession. You pick one mission, not 10, one, and you pour that obsessive energy into mastery, not scrolling. Set a shadow ritual every night, 5 minutes, no phone, no music. Ask yourself, where did my shadow leak today? Passive-aggressive comment, silent resentment, self-sabotage. How could I have used that same energy with discipline? Write one line. Tomorrow, I will use this energy by blank. This is how confidence is built, not by repeating, "I am enough," but by proving to yourself daily that you can command your own darkness. Most people chase confidence by adding more noise, more hacks, more quotes, more fake positivity. You're going the opposite way. You are stripping yourself down to the truth. I am not harmless. I am not pure. I am dangerous, and I am disciplined. That is real confidence, not the loud, shaky kind, the silent kind that fills a room and doesn't need to explain itself. You know your dark side now. Your only task is simple. Face it, name it, then bend it to your will. Go do the work.